Hello there friends and welcome. For today's Pathfinder guide we have everything about the new Bloodseeker Slayer archetype. It's a very unique class with a lot of abilities that fit the whole vampire theme, with a special bite attack and even a blood pool of points to spend and use your abilities. And you'll get powerful self buffs, including higher stats and more damage, and even unique and powerful skeleton summons no other class in the game can get. And we'll of course be going with the Lich Mythic path, after all there's no vampire, and Liches are stronger, for the amazing vampiric regeneration on every single one of your attacks, level drain auras, temporary hit points, everything that's perfect for a vampire or Lich, as to truly become an immortal undead, plus of course as many undead minions as you want. So without further ado, let us get into our Bloodseeker guide, first with the core mechanics of the class. The Bloodseeker's most unique feature is their nocturnal abilities, which will replace your Slayer talents every 2 levels. There's a lot of stuff to choose from, but I'll be blunt, most aren't exactly good. Some do stand out however, especially the buffs like Predatory Might and Predatory Prowess, which will buff your character with very rare profane bonuses to damage, dexterity, strength, even armor class. Something most other classes in the game don't get until level 17 plus, from Nocticula's gift. You can also increase your sneak attack, just like the Sense Vital spell, and the Bloodseeker will even have access to some unique summons, like the Bloody Bones Beast Skeleton. This was already an enemy back in Kingmaker days. And well, it's quite a powerful summon because the stats are really good, with multiple attacks and decent enough damage. Of course, if you are playing on Unfair, then your summons will most likely be just distractions, but well, better they get hit than your party members because you'll take double damage. As a matter of fact, no other class in the game can summon Bloody Bones Beast Skeletons, only the Bloodseeker. The other nocturnal abilities aren't really as good, and they are mostly copies of spells like Blasphemy, Enervation, Haste, Slow, Vampiric Shadow Shield, and so on. You do have a few damage ones like Cone of Blood and Blood Jet, but I don't know how else to say it, the damage will always be kinda poor because Wrath of the Righteous is a game where enemies have a lot of hit points. And unfortunately, the main way of increasing the damage of your nocturnal abilities, your capstone Master of Blood, only comes online at level 20, as it will empower and bolster your damage abilities for free. I'd much rather this be gained during normal progression, as you level up, because otherwise there's not much of a point into using them, unless, you know, for flavor. But Blood Jet is 1d4 per level against a single enemy, and Cone of Blood 1d4 as area of effect, but has a saving throw for half, which is kinda poor. Anyways, you still have a lot of other nice stuff. Just like a Dhampir, you start with negative energy affinity, which means you're treated as undead for the purposes of healing. And starting from level 2, you'll have the Bloodlust feature to increase your damage and attack after killing enemies, based on your intelligence modifier. You'll even get a bite attack, classic for a vampire. It doesn't start that good, although you can drain blood from enemies on a critical hit to restore 3 points of your blood pool, and well, your blood pool is what you'll spend to use all of your nocturnal abilities. You start with 2 at the 2nd level, with a +1 for every level afterwards. The bite does become quite powerful starting from level 9 however, because you won't need to critical anymore. Now, by just biting the enemy, you'll both inflict negative levels, which is amazing because they stack, and even gain 5 temporary HP. Last but not least, level 10 means the most unique ability you'll ever have, Carrion Form, which lets you transform into a swarm of ravens. While the swarm deals very poor damage, the main use is replenishing blood pool points, because as a swarm you'll have a special attack that automatically hits enemies only as an area of effect, and every single enemy hit will restore your blood pool by +1, which means you can constantly recharge it on demand, as transforming into the Raven Swarm only costs a single blood point. And while you still retain the best Slayer features like full progression for sneak attack and study target. And now that we know the core mechanics behind Bloodseeker, let's get into our build at last. For race, I'll be going with human as always. It's just the best early by far. But it's not necessary because this character will have a lot of feats to spare starting from level 10+. You can of course go with Dampier, I just don't see much of a point besides flavor because, well, you already have negative energy affinity for free starting at level 1. For background, as always, 313 and Pickpocket for the highest initiative. For stats, definitely go all out into strength, so 19 at character creation, then 14 dexterity, 14 constitution. Yes, it is true as always that once you fully become a lich, constitution will stop working, but at that point, you know, that's what, after 90% of the game, you can just respec out of constitution and put the rest of the points in charisma. So either 14 constitution or 14 charisma later as a lich. Besides that, you might as well go for 14 intelligence as well, because one of your main Bloodseeker features, Bloodlust, requires decent intelligence. The rest you can just get through gear and buffs. So this is the stat for a human, but later when respecing as a lich at chapter 5, go with this stat spread instead. For skill points, athletics, because you went all out into strength, followed by knowledge, world, as you do have intelligence and you can cook for your party at camping. Nothing like a cooking vampire. The rest of the skills are up to you, but you might as well go for some of the dexterity ones, like mobility and stealth. You can also go for perception, even if you have low wisdom, because the Bloodseeker class does get some bonuses to perception as you level up. For your level 1 feats, it's the classic package for two-handers. Starting with power attack, and of course everyone's favorite cleave for dual attacks even at level 1. It is true that cleave will clash with the bite you get at the next level, but using the bite early is not recommended, because it's quite dangerous. Well, first the effect is not really that strong, because it's only good on a critical hit. And with cleave and a two-handed weapon, especially glaives for reach early on, you'll deal way more damage. Not to mention being safer from enemy attacks, of course, which is what really matters. For deity, any that you want, so long as it fits the Lich alignment, but ideally Mummy or Gatoa, as it is the main goddess of undeath. Then any evil alignment, but if you want a multi-class with Shifter later, for loads of extra vampiric bites, be sure to remain neutral evil. For your first nocturnal ability, go with Summon Dire Wolves. For starters, it's a level 3 summon, so by default most characters would only get this at level 5+. And well, 1d4 wolves is pretty good, especially because the wolves do have free knockdown on their main bite attack, just like the wolf pet, so they can help you a lot early on. Then for level 3, cleaving finish as always for the extra attack, and the more enemies you're attacking and killing, the better for proccing more bloodlust bonuses. At level 4, increase strength, the same for all the other levels. Then for your nocturnal power at level 4, go with Sense Vitals. It's essentially the same as the Sense Vital spell, right? So higher sneak attack damage, equal to 1d6 for every 3 levels of Bloodseeker. And it will stack with your normal default Bloodseeker sneak attack progression. Then for level 5, the classic outflank, the must-have for any melee build. Level 6 is when you start getting really good nocturnal powers, as it's when we get the self buffs. Go with Predatory Might, as it provides a huge bonus to both strength and damage. Because it's profane, at this point you could already get plus 10 to strength, plus 4 profane from this, plus 4 enhancement from the bow's strength spell, and a plus 2 size from Enlarge Person. For level 7, it's time for Lunge as usual to provide you with even more reach. For the level 8 nocturnal ability, it's finally time for our unique summon, Bloody Bones Beast. As I mentioned before, the skeletons you summon with this are not only unique, but also quite powerful, especially for the point you get them. Of course, at endgame, they won't be as good, but since by then you'll have a lot of Lich special bonuses to undead allies, they can still hold their ground. Level 9 is when you'll finally switch your weapon from a glaive into something else, as this is when we get the upgraded bite, which is way better because now It doesn't require critical hits to be good, as by just attacking normally, you'll increase your own HP and drain even the enemy's levels. And well, level 9 is also when you get improved critical, so now it's time to specialize into our true mid and end game weapon. My preferred pick is falchions, as they are two-handed and also have the highest critical range. Plus, because they don't have reach, you can combine them with Vampire Bite. But you can go with whatever else you want, so long as it's not a reach weapon, that is assuming you wanna attack the enemies with your Vampire Bite as well. Then for our Nocturnal ability at 10, Predatory Prowess to increase your dexterity and AC. It is true that you don't necessarily need this, because you have reach, but hey, the higher your dexterity, the more attacks of opportunity and initiative you'll get. Don't forget, this is also when we get the very useful Carrion form. So now, recharging your blood pool is just a matter of, well, having at least one blood point remaining, activating this, and attacking the enemies with your area of effect ability. From level 11 onwards, you can either keep your character pure or multiclass. I prefer multiclassing because, to be fair, the other unique bonuses you get as Bloodseeker aren't that good. The capstone is only at 20, the same for improved query, only at 19. So essentially, you would only get higher duration on your nocturnal abilities and higher blood points, but like I said, you can always recharge blood points from the Raven Swarm instead. My preferred multiclassing pick now is Fighter and the classic Mutation Warrior. This way you'll get the Mutagen, which stacks with our profane bonuses and also spells, and of course weapon training plus a lot of extra feats, even better if you didn't go with a human. Something else you can do that will be not only very fun but quite thematic is get Shifter, but like I said, you have to be neutral evil, and 6 levels, as it provides you with the Shifter's Fury feature. With this, you can change your unique Vampire Bite, which is now at full power, into your primary attack, so you'll have lots of extra Vampiric Bites per round. All which can drain the enemy and restore your hit points, of course. The only downside is it only comes at level 6 Shifter, so 16 levels. Just saying, it's something fun you can do if you want, but for better bonuses earlier, Fighter and Mutation Warrior. Then at level 11, if you went to Fighter, you have dual feats, and well, you also have 2 options. My preferred pick is first, Great Cleave, just so we can get improved cleaving finish right now, as our damage is amazing, so killing enemies with cleaves is very easy. But you can also get Weapon Focus into whatever you want, followed by Dazzling Display, and Shatter Defenses at level 12, because Liches do have a unique Fear Aura to proc this easily. I'd rather just go with Improved Cleaving Finish, however, because of the nerf to Shatter Defenses. Then grab Combat Reflexes at the next level, as you'll have very high dexterity, especially through our Nocturnal buff. For level 13, be sure to go with Weapon Focus into your weapon of choice, unless you picked it before, but for me, falchions. You'll get the Mutagen now, which is great, and at level 14, with 4 levels of Fighter, we can grab Weapon Specialization into falchions, followed by Armor Focus into medium armors at level 15, so we can qualify for the Mythic variant, which increases damage, and Weapon Training into your weapon group of choice. For me, because I went with falchions, Heavy Blades is the way to go. I would rather resume progression into Bloodseeker now, but you could potentially remain a Fighter until level 10, and also get 1 level into Ranger and Demon Slayer for the +2 bonus to attack and damage against all demons. Because I really want to use the Skellies, as I think they are one of the most unique parts of the Bloodseeker character, I'll just remain pure for higher duration, but like I said, you have other options if you want. And of course, you can go with 15 levels of Bloodseeker first, and later get the 5 Fighter ones. For level 17, you can grab Improved Initiative, or, something I prefer, Heightened Spell, because by now you already have almost all the special Lich spells, and this can provide you with extra spellbook flexibility, especially for more casts of some fun spells like the spells that provide you with undead minions, such as Repurpose. And your nocturnal abilities from now on can be anything you want because you already have the best ones by far. You might as well pick Blood Healing. Then at 19, grab either Improved Initiative or Blind Fight. Blind Fight isn't that necessary because Liches have the ultimate dispelling magic in the game, so with one cast you dispel enemies of all buffs and debuff them into infinity as well. Now let us cover Mythic progression for our Bloodseeker Vampire Lich. For the first ascension, close to the Abyss as usual for the extra gore attack. This won't work with rich weapons, but like I said, you'll soon be equipped with falchions anyways. And for Mythic level 1, in the spirit of being a truly immortal vampire or lich, last stand is the way to go. With this, you pretty much never die. For the second Mythic level, you have two options. If you want more damage, go with Mythic power attack, but something very fun I like doing with this character is extra Mythic ability and Ascendant summons, because like I said, the Bloody Bones Skeleton's unique summon you have are very good. And Mythic level 2 is exactly where you would get them, so level 8 normal progression. Then for Mythic level 3, the classic Ever Ready, also a must-have for any melee build. For your Skeleton pet, as always the Marksman, because it's ranged, so you won't have to worry about it dying or having to heal it. Then Fear Control for the best melee Lich power, as it provides amazing bonuses to attack, damage, and even a minor fear aura. For Mythic level 4, Mythic Critical as usual into your weapon of choice. Followed by the Fighter Skelly upgrade. And as a bonus feat, you might as well go with Weapon Focus and Longbow. I can't recall if the Skelly already gets this during normal progression, it's just that the other feats don't matter. Followed by Weapon Training into bows. This does matter, however. Your Mythic 5 ability will depend. If you have a SKALD party member, which I always do, go with Mythic Charge, as Liches also have a unique power for higher charge damage you'll be getting at the next level. If you don't, however, you might as well go with Unrelenting Assault. Even something like the Slayer unique defensive study can work, it's just that armor class doesn't really matter for you. But there's also always a chance if you want, as missing on ones is really annoying. Then for Mythic level 6, it's time to get into Mythic Armor Focus, Assault for medium armor, as it will provide you with a lot of extra damage and the best armor for strength characters is medium now. For the second Lich power, because we picked Mythic Charge at the previous level, it's now time for Death Rush, which will make your charges deadly. But just in case you didn't pick Charge and don't have a SKALD, go with Tainted Sneak Attack. You're always making sneak attacks anyways by virtue of being a Slayer. And well, the debuff this provides you can be quite good, even if the saving throw won't be high because it's essentially on every attack. The odds are in your favor that the enemy will fail eventually, and becoming vulnerable to all weapon and elemental damage is huge as they'll take 50% extra damage. Then for Mythic 7, it's finally time for Master Shapeshifter, as at this level, Liches get the Ice Body spell which is polymorph, so will qualify you for Master Shapeshifter. For Mythic 8, well, either Mythic Power Attack or Mythic Weapon Specialization. There's also Mythic Initiative, and you can pick another one of these at Mythic level 10. You can of course also pick Mythic Power Attack instead of Mythic Armor Assault at Mythic 6 if you prefer. Then any Skeleton upgrade, but ideally Cleric, Inquisitor or Magus. As far as Mythic level 9, you can go with anything you want, I'll just be picking Unrelenting Assault, followed by either Tainted Sneak Attack or Deadly Magic to shut enemy spellcasters down, amazing against a certain boss. Now let us cover gear for our Bloodseeker Vampire. For the amulet, as always Valexias for the highest bonus to strength possible. For armor, ultimately Life Infuser, the new best armor, for the huge bonus to strength. This is chapter 5 only, but before that, you can just rely on the Chainmail of Camaraderie as usual. Robes and shirts won't matter for most of the game, but the Robe of the Seven Sins is really helpful. For a Lich, to increase your caster level beyond the max of course, as your Lich spells scale past that. Mostly for buffing however. And something fun, if you wanna go the Summoner path, is the Source of Dividing Power, which can be bought at Drezen, I believe. And well, you automatically buff your summons with the Holy property on all their attacks. For belts, early belts of strength, ultimately the belt of the last of First Humans of course for the amazing bonus to attack and damage. Then for gloves, Fencer's Gift is the way, as it provides not only extra damage when two-handing, but well, even more and also attack bonus by increasing your weapon training modifier. Boots can be whatever you want, I went with Stampede because I have a SKALD, and Liches have extra charge potential. For headbands, early headbands of Intelligence to increase your Bloodlust power, but ultimately Darkness Caress for the +8 to all mental stats. Great for stacking Charisma as a Lich as well for higher hit points, but only later. For glasses, you can go with Broken Trickster, but once you have Darkness Caress, although it's super late in the game, you might as well replace it for anything else, including the Goggles of Piercing Gaze. For cloaks, go with Cloaks of Resistance early, but ultimately the special Lich Mythic Cloak, for the huge bonus to stats of all undead allies. It doesn't work on yourself, however. You can also go with Darkest Rites, but it's better for spellcasters, and there's also a special Lich Cloak called Wrath of Undead, I believe. But that can be equipped on any other party member as it works based on an aura that buffs undead allies. For rings, as always, Triumphant Advance to double morale bonuses, followed by Imminent Demise as you'll be two-handing. But don't forget, the Bane of Spirit Ring is amazing, especially for a Lich, because you are constantly recovering the HP cost. It's just that you can also activate this from another character. And for braces, as always, Slaughter, for the maximum bonuses to damage possible, early just the lucky braces you start the game with. Now let us cover weapons and quick slots. I decided to go with Falchions for the highest critical range, and well, you have a few options. During chapter 1, you can just use Finian, by making him into a Falchion, of course. For the second chapter onwards, you have the special Jinx Falchion, very good if you have Camellia or Ember as party members, as to increase the damage enemies take by hexing them, and ultimately Rumbling Falchion for the Thundering property. Or you can just skip to Finian if you want. The other weapons are for boosting spells and summons. For summons we have the Stormcaller Spear, as it provides the Thundering property to all summons, and will stack with the Robes of Dividing Power. Do note that you only need this equipped when summoning creatures. After you summon them, you can switch to anything else. And of course, the new Sim Mage Staff to increase your caster level even higher, amazing when combined with Robe of the Seven Sins for +6 total. For quick slots, Jarsigax as always for higher damage, the Brazen Whip to increase the number of your summons attacks. It will slow you, but you can become immune by having Freedom of Movement, the buff before equipping this. The Signet to increase any skill, ideally Athletics, and Meta Magic Rods for some of the Lich spells if you want. Well, alright friends, so this was it for our Bloodseeker Lich Vampire build. If you found this guide useful as always, please remember to like, subscribe, and also consider becoming a channel member if you can. I truly appreciate your support. Thank you for watching and see you next time.